everyone. It's the last Junie B. Jones book I have to read to you. Don't worry though, the next book series we read is super fun and full of adventure. Anyway, Junie B. Jones is a graduation girl. This is the last book of when she graduates kindergarten. Let's get started. Chapter 1, The Month of Juney. My name is Junie B. Jones. The B stands for Beatrice, except I don't like Beatrice, I just like B and that's all. I was named after the month of Juney, because Juney is the month I was born in, of course. And wait till you hear this. Yesterday, I finally had my birthday, and now I am 6 years old. That day was like magic, I tell you, because on Saturday night, when I went to bed, I was only 5 years old, and the next morning, boom, I was 6. My grandma Helen Miller had a happy birthday party for me. She invited my mother and my daddy and my grandpa Frank Miller. Also, she invited my baby brother named Ollie. He is 7 months old. He did not add that much. I loved my party a very lot. First, I love my chocolatey cake with white icing. Next, I love my strawberry ice cream, plus also I love my balloons and my funny birthday hats and all of my happy birthday cards. But mostly, I loved my presents. I got 5 entire boxes to open. And good news, none of them was clothes. Mostly I got toys and games. Also, I got a tool belt just my size. Plus, my grandpa Miller gave me my very own plumbing supplies to help fix the toilet. But that is not even the end of all my excitement, because that night when Mother tucked me into bed, she reminded me that I'm graduating from kindergarten on Friday. My stomach felt jumpy inside when she said that. I quick counted on all my fingers. But Friday is only 5 more days, I said. I did a gulp. That has sneaked up right on us, didn't it? I said, kind of very nervous. Mother hugged me. You're not worried, are you, Junie B? She asked. Graduation will be fun. I promise. You're going to love first grade. But Polly Ellen Puffer says that next year everything will be different, I said. He says that first grade won't have the same kids as room 9 does, and so all of our classmates will be weirdo strangers. Mother did a frown. No, that's not true. I'm sure you'll know a lot of children in your class next year, Junie B, but even if your best friends aren't in your room, they will still be able to play together at recess, right? I nodded my head kind of slow. Yeah, I guess so. Polly Ellen Puffer says that we will be the boss of all the kindergarten kids, so that will be fun probably. And also, he says our brain and our feet will double in size. Mother stared at me a real long time. That Polly Ellen Puffer is a fountain of knowledge, she said. After that, we talked some more about graduation in first grade. And guess what? The next day at school, my teacher talked about it even more. Her name is Mrs. She has another name too, but I just like Mrs. and that's all. Mrs. clapped her hands real happy. Well, this is it, boys and girls, she said. Graduation week is finally here. At 7 o'clock on Friday evening, room 8 and room 9 will have our graduation ceremony together. And of course, the children in morning kindergarten will be graduating too. So every single one of you will receive a diploma. I sprang out of my chair, very thrilled. A diploma? I would love a diploma, I shouted. Just then, I did a teensy frown. It's not closed, correct? I said. A meanie boy named Jim laughed real loud. Ah, you don't even know what a diploma is. I stomped my foot at that boy. Oh, yes, I do too, Jim. I know perfectly well what it is, but I am not even the teacher here, and so I will let her explain it to the class. I sat down and smoothed my skirt. Then I pointed to Mrs. Okay, go. Mrs. wrinkled her eyebrows at me. As I was about to say, a diploma is a very special piece of paper. A diploma is a certificate that says you've completed part of your education. As you go through school, you'll get several diplomas, but this one will be your first. I springed up again. And guess what else, Mrs.? I'm not even afraid of the first grade anymore, because I'll be getting big feet and brains. Mrs. said, sit down, to me. Then she told us more about graduation. She said that as a treat for our families, we will be making them a special graduation invitations, and that will be our activity for the day. Yippee! I said, I love making invitations, Mrs. On account of that does not even sound like learning. After that, I clapped and clapped, and all of room 9 clapped with me, because graduation week was starting off like a charm. Chapter 2, Rhymes. I sat at my table very nice. Mrs. passed out a colored paper for our invitations. Also, she passed out a curly ribbon and lace and paste and bottles of sparkly glitter. Just as a reminder, she said, we do not put glitter on our eyebrows. And we do not put lace up our noses. And above all, we do not curl or glue curly ribbon to our heads and pretend it is long hair. She looked and looked at me. I squirmed in my seat a teeny bit, because that woman has a memory like a hawk, I tell you. Finally, Mrs. went to the board and she picked up her chalk. On the inside of our cards, we're going to write a poem about graduation. Does anyone have any ideas for the first lines? My friend named Grace waved her hand all around. Roses are red! Roses are red! She called out. Yeah, hollered room 9. Roses are red! Mrs. smiled. She wrote it on the board for us. Okay, now what about the second line? Room 9 hollered again, "Violets are blue! Violets are blue!" Sounds familiar, right, boys and girls? Mrs. wrote that line too. Very good, class. Now, who could think of a third line? Maybe we should try to mention something about graduation in this one. Does anyone have any ideas? A shy boy named William stood up next to his table. "Graduation is here," he said, kind of nervous. Mrs. grinned real big. "Excellent job, William, excellent." She printed it on the board. "All right, there's just one more line to go. Let's try to make the last word rhyme with the word blue, okay?" She read the first 3 lines out loud to her class. "Roses are red, violets are blue, graduation is here." Room 9 thought and thought. Then all of a sudden, rhymes started coming from all over the place. "My dress will be new," said Lucille. "My dad's name is Lou," called Jamal Hall. "We made it, woohoo," said Lenny. Just then, Polly Allen Puffer sprang right out of his chair, and he started laughing his head off. "The zoo is PU," he shouted the loudest. Then all of room 9 laughed our heads off because PU was the silliest rhyme we ever heard of. Mrs. clapped her mad hands together. "Boys and girls, that's enough," she grouched. She hurried Polly Allen Puffer to his table, and she put him back in a seat. "I do not appreciate that kind of behavior, young man," she said. "We're trying to write a nice class poem. Polly Allen, and your rhyme was entirely inappropriate." After that, I tried to stop giggling, but that silly poem kept on staying in my head. And then, out of nowhere, another funny poem popped right in my brain, and I couldn't even hold it inside of me. I quick jumped out of my chair. "Roses are red, violets are blue, graduation is here, and your feet smell like stink!" I hollered. After that, room 9 could not even control themselves again because that poem was the funniest thing they'd ever heard of. My teacher's eyes got big and wide at me. "Junie B. Jones, didn't you hear a word I just said?" Then Mrs. hurried to my table, and she took me into the hall, and she pointed me straight to the office. Chapter 3, A Good Chuckle. The office is where Principal lives. I know my way there by heart. There's a typing lady there, too. She looks over the counter at me. "Well, well, well, would you look who it is?" she said. I looked down at myself. "Well, well, well, looks like me," I said, kind of quiet. The typing lady pointed at the blue chair. The blue chair is where the bad kids sit. Only I'm not even bad, but I still have to sit there sometimes. I put my feet on the edge of the chair, and I hid my face in my knees. If you don't hide your face, people couldn't recognize yourself. Finally, I peeked one eye at Principal's door, and guess what? That guy was looking right back at me. "Is that Junie B. Jones I see out there?" I did a gasp. Chris Principal can even recognize me from one eyeball. I went to his office, and I sat in the big wood chair. Principal winked at me. "I'm a bit surprised to see you, Junie B," he said. "You haven't been sitting here for quite some time." I nodded. "I know it. That's because my behavior has shown considerable improvement." I pronounced the words very perfect. "My teacher printed those words on my report card," I said. "And guess what else showed improvement? My speaking. That's what. Because I don't say runned anymore. And I don't say thinked. And I don't say throwed. Do you want to hear me say them right, huh?" I took a big breath. Ran. Thought. Through. I smiled very proud. "See, I told you Mother says I'm getting a better vocabulary." Principal smiled. "Yes, well, I'm delighted with your improvements, Junie B. But if everything has gotten better, then why are you here?" I wriggled in my chair, very uncomfortable. "Because it wasn't my fault, that's why." "What wasn't your fault?" said Principal. I wriggled some more. Then, finally, I told Principal about how my teacher had made us write a graduation poem and how she said the last word had to rhyme with blue. And so Polly Allen Puffer rhymed with the word with PU. But then Mrs. got very mad at him because she did not appreciate his behavior, young man. Only too bad for me because my brain thought of an even sillier poem and my mouth couldn't hold it inside. Principal closed his eyes. He did some deep breaths. "All right," he said. "Let's hear it." I gulped, very worried. Then I made my voice real soft. "Roses are red, violets are blue, graduation is here, and your feet smell like stink." After that, Principal kept his eyes closed for a real long time, and he didn't say any words. Then he put his head down on his desk, and he started to laugh. His laugh got louder and louder, and so guess what? Then I started laughing too. "That poem was a beaut, right, Principal? We're having ourselves a good chuckle over this, aren't we?" Principal stopped laughing very fast. He raised his head. "No, Junie B, we are not having a good chuckle. I'm sorry your poem caught me completely by surprise, but I never should have laughed like that." He crossed his arms at me. "You are right about one thing, though. Your poem is definitely silly, but silly things are not always appropriate to say in the classroom, are they? Your teacher made it very clear she didn't like what Polly Allen had said, Junie B, but you called your poem out anyway." He made squinty eyes. "And please do not blame it on your mouth, okay? You know you could have held it inside. I shrugged my shoulders. I don't know. Maybe I could have. Principal tapped his finger on his desk. It's a very serious matter to disobey a teacher, Junie B. And I want you to sit here and think about just how serious it is. Can you do that, please? Yes, I said. I can. After that, I squeezed my eyes real tight and I thought. Finally, I opened my eyes again. Good news, I said. I've said my very last stink. Principal nodded his head. That is good news. Then he stood up and he held my hand and he walked me to the hall. It's been an interesting year getting to know you, Junie B. Jones, he said. You're a fascinating little girl. Thank you, I said. You are fascinating too. After that, both of us waved goodbye and I started skipping back to room 9. Then all of a sudden I stopped and I spun around. Yeah, only we're not saying goodbye forever, right, Principal, right? Because next year I will get sent down here too, probably, or else maybe you and I will see each other on the playground, right? Principal tiddled a chuckle. Right, he said. Hooray, I said. Hooray, hooray. And I turned back around and I skipped room 9. I skipped to room 9 my fastest. Because maybe if I hurried, I could still sprinkle glitter on something. Chapter 4, Cats and Gowns. I skipped in the door of room 9. Then my whole face got happy because guess who was talking to my teacher? It was Gus Filoni, that's who. And Gus Filoni is my favorite janitor. I zoomed right over to that guy. Gus Filoni, it's a joy to see you. And so what brings you here anyway? Gus Filoni patted my head. I had an important delivery to make, sis, he said. Just then, my bestest friend, Lucille, came running up to me. She pointed to a big stack of boxes. It's cats and gowns, Junie B. Gus Filoni brought us cats and gowns. She twirled me all around. I heard him talking to the teacher. The cats and gowns are right there in those boxes. Everyone is getting one for graduation, she said. I jumped up and down at that wonderful news, because who doesn't love cats and gowns? That's what I'd like to know. Cats and gowns, I hollered. Cats and gowns, hollered room 9. Mrs. sat down in her chair real slow. Then Gus Filoni patted her shoulder and he said the words, good luck. Mrs. said for room 9 to please stop shouting. I'm sorry, boys and girls, but Lucille did not hear me correctly. No one in room 9 is getting a cat and a gown for graduation. Room 9 did a loud groan. Then what are we getting exactly, I said. Caps and gowns, said Mrs. You are all getting a cap and gown for graduation, not a cat and gown. No, said Lucille. I heard you say cat, teacher. I know I did. I know it. Mrs. said for Lucille to hush. Then she passed out the boxes to all the children. I looked inside my box real curious. Then I kept looking and looking because something was not right in there. My cap got run over by a truck, I think. It's a big, square flatso. Mrs. laughed. Then she came to my table and she unfolded my cap and she put it right on my head. Hey, what do you know? It fits, I said. After that, all of us put on our caps and gowns and we skipped all around the room, only not Lucille, because she was still upset about the cat issue, of course. Pretty soon the bell was going to ring, and so Mrs. Smith put all of our outfits back in our boxes. I'm going to let you take these home with you today, she said. But please do not play with them on the bus, and do not play with them at home either. These caps and gowns are white, okay? And white materials get soiled very easily. I know it, Mrs., because white material gets soiled. Because one time my Grandpa Miller spilt beer on his new white tie, and you can still see the splashes on that thing. Mrs. looked and looked at me. Then she sat back down at her desk very quiet, and she waited for the bell to ring. Chapter 5, $1,000,000. Me and my bestest friend named Grace rode the bus home together. We held our boxes very tight on our laps, and we didn't open them. We are being very careful about our graduation gowns, aren't we, Grace? I said. We are being very careful not to soil them. Yes, said that Grace, we are. I looked down at my box. I'm very proud of us for not opening these things, I said. I'm very proud of us too, said that Grace. We rode and rode. I did a sigh. It's too bad we can't just peek at them a little bit though, right? Isn't it, Grace? One teensy peek won't hurt anything, I bet. That Grace didn't say anything. I tapped on her. Okay, here's what I'm thinking, Grace. I'm thinking we should just do one little peek and that's all. And what do you say, friend? Grace made her voice very loud. No, Junie B. No, we're not allowed to. Can't you follow orders? Do you want to soil these things? I did a huffy breath at her. But peeking will not even soil them, Grace. Peeking is just looking with your eyes, only faster. Only too bad for me because Grace kept on saying no, no, no. And so I had to wait for that stubborn girl to get off the bus before I could peek. After she was gone, I looked in my box zippity quick, and what do you know? I didn't even soil anything. I got off the bus and ran to my house. My Grandma Helen Miller was babysitting my brother. She was feeding him a snack in his high chair. Grandma Miller, I got my cap and gown. It's right here in this box. Would you like me to try it on for you, Grandma? Grandma Miller clapped her hands. Of course I would, she said real thrilled. Try it on right now. Okie dokie. Then I quick put my cap and gown on and I danced all around. See me, Grandma? See what I look like? I look like a graduation girl. I hopped all around Ollie's high chair. My teacher said not to play in this, but hopping is not the same thing as playing. Just then I heard the front door open. And hooray, Mother was home. Her whole mouth came open when she saw me. Oh my goodness, look at how cute you are, she said. I know it, Mother, I know I am cute. I look like $1,000,000 in this stuff. I twirled all around in front of her. See me twirling, Mother? Twirling is not the same as playing, I said. After I stopped twirling, I fell down on the floor. Falling on the floor is what comes after twirling. It cannot be helped normally. Mother picks me up. Maybe you should take this off before you get it dirty, she said. No, Mother, no, I want to keep it on, please. Let me, please. I quick ran to Ollie's high chair and I ducked down behind it. Ollie peeked around at me. He had a sloppy on his face. I'm not a sloppy baby like Ollie, I said. I won't get this dirty, I promise. But Mother shook her head. I'm sorry, Junie B, but it's not a good idea to play on your gown. After that, Mother and Grandma Miller blocked the high chair and I couldn't run away again. Shoot, I said. I am surrounded. Mother took my graduation outfit off of me and she put it back in the box, and then she put the box way up on top of the refrigerator. Let's store it up here for safekeeping, she said. Let's not, I said real growly. Mother made squinty eyes at me and then she took me by my arm and she marched me to my room, because that woman has no sense of humor, apparently. She shut my door and left. I flopped on my bed very glum. My stuffed animals were very glum too. Everybody thinks I'm a sloppy baby, but I'm not. I don't think you're a sloppy baby, said my stuffed elephant named Philip Johnny Bob. I don't think you're a sloppy baby either, said my Raggedy Ann named Ruth. My Raggedy Andy named Larry did a sigh. I wish your mother didn't put that cap and gown box on top of the refrigerator. Me too, said Philip Johnny Bob. I wish you could get it down from there so all of us could see it. After that, I thought, and I lifted up his softy ear and I whispered, maybe I can. Chapter 6. Pooped and thirsty. Pooped means tired. The next morning, my Grandpa Miller came to babysit. I love that babysitter very much, because he doesn't even follow the rules, that's why. Grandpa Miller let me fix my own breakfast. I fixed 2 waffles and 3 marshmallows and a bowl of cheese curls. And guess what else? My grandpa let me pour my own grape juice and I didn't even spill 1 drop. See, Grandpa? See how careful I am? I am not a sloppy baby, right? Grandpa Miller was feeding Ollie. Right, he said. My eyes looked up at the refrigerator. I hopped down from a chair. Alrighty, Frankie, I guess I'll be getting out of your hair now. If you'll just hand me that box from the top of the refrigerator, I'll be on my way. Just then, baby Ollie started to cry. Grandpa Miller patted him. I tapped my foot. I'm waiting, Grandpa. Finally, Grandpa Miller stood up and got my box. He started to look inside. Only all of a sudden, Ollie did a loud squeal. And he put his whole bowl of cereal right on his head. Oh my goodness, hollered Grandpa. Then Grandpa Miller shoved the box right at me and he hurried to clean Ollie's head. Distraction. I zoomed to my room and I locked my door and I waved my box all around. I got it, guys! I got it! Hooray, said Philip Johnny Bob. Hooray, hooray, said Raggedy Ruth and Raggedy Larry. After that, I set those guys on my bookshelf and I put my graduation gown down. Oh, I put it on. See me, friends? See how cute I look? I'm a graduation girl, see? Wow, 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 they all hollered. After that, I danced and skipped and hopped and twirled because they wouldn't stop cheering, that's why. Finally, I flopped on my bed. Okay, that's enough, people, I said. I am pooped and thirsty. Me too, said Raggedy Larry. I am pooped and thirsty, too. I wish we could get something to drink, said Raggedy Ruth. Just then, a brainstorm came in my head. I sat up very straight. Hey, wait a second. I just learned how to pour grape juice without spilling a drop, and so I can get some, maybe. Yeah, said Philip Johnny Bob. I hurried to my door and listened in the hall. Grandpa Miller was giving Ollie a bath. Shh, I whispered to my friends. You wait here, I'll be right back. After that, I tippy-toed to the kitchen speedy quick, and I poured us a cup of grape juice, and I tippy-toed right back again. Chapter 7. Juice Driblets. Grape juice can go wrong. First, Raggedy Ruth got purple on her mouth. Then Teddy got dribble drop on his paw. And then, oh no, Raggedy Larry forgot to swallow his whole entire sip. Driblets spilled all over my bookshelf. I covered my mouth very shocked. Then my heart pounded and pounded. Because if grape juice gets on my rug, I'm in big trouble, Missy. A cloth, I need a cloth, I hollered. I ran around all over my room. Then all of a sudden, my eyes looked down at my clothes, and what do you know? I saw all the cloth I needed. I quick took it off of me, and I soaked up the driblets. My shoulders felt relief in them. Phew, that was a close one. After that, I walked to my bed, and I plopped on my pillow. My brain was a genius to think of that, I said. I breathed, and then all of a sudden I did a teensy frown. Because something did not feel right here, possibly. I covered my head with my sheet, then I turned my head very slow, and I peeked out at my bookshelf. My stomach did a flip-flop. Because I saw my graduation gown, that's why. And I had juice driblets soaked into the front. I looked at Raggedy Larry real mad. Look what you made me do! You made me use my graduation gown to soak up that dumb juice. Great, Larry, just great. After that, Raggedy Larry got put under my bed and he did not come out again. Juice driblets do not go away. Not even when you erase them with your brand new eraser. Or if you color them with your brand new white crayon. Or if you brush them with Daddy's new whitening, brightening toothpaste. I brushed up and down and all around, but the driblets did not budge. Shoot, I said. Now I will look like a sloppy baby at graduation, and I'm not even the one who dribbled. Except she was. Just then I heard a knock at my door. It was Grandpa Miller. Junie B, is everything okay in there? My heart got very pounding again. Yes, Grandpa, yes, everything's perfectly perfect, but I'm just playing with my stuffed animals and that's all. Grandpa Miller knocked some more. Could you open the door, please? I felt tension in me because I didn't want him to see my problem. I quick pushed my graduation gown under my bed, then I opened the door a teensy crack. Hello, how are you today? I'm fine, except I'm right in the middle of something, so I would like to get back to it, please. Grandpa Miller was holding baby Ollie. He looked disappointed. Oh, phooey. Now that I've got your brother all cleaned up, I thought maybe you and I could teach him how to play checkers. I looked at Ollie. He was wearing a clean shirt with purple polka dots. No, thank you. Maybe I could teach him checkers some other day. I waved at my Grandpa Miller, very sweet. Well, nice seeing you again, Frank. Bye. After that, I closed the door and I waited for Grandpa's footsteps to leave. Finally, I pulled my graduation gown from under the bed and I stared and stared at that thing. Why did this gown have to be white? I grouched. Why couldn't it be purple like the grape juice? If it was purple like the grape juice, the driblets would blend right in. I tapped my fingers real annoyed. Or why couldn't this gown have purple flowers on it? The juice would blend in with flowers too, I bet. Or what about polka dotties like Ollie's shirt? If there were polka dots, no one could notice the driblets for sure. Just then, I sat up very fast. Because I was getting another brainstorm in my head. I zoomed straight to my desk. And then I looked through my drawers and I found my colored markers. I laughed real happy. Then I spread my graduation gown on the floor and I worked and worked very hard. And guess what? When I finally got done, you couldn't even see the driblets hardly. My brain is a genius after all, I said. After that, I put my camping gown in the box again and I took it back to my Grandpa Miller. Alrighty, Grandpa. You can put this back in the refrigerator now, please. Then I smiled real big because guess what else he did? Chapter 8, Getting Ready. Room 8 and Room 9 practiced for graduation together. We practiced on the stage at the auditorium, because the stage is where people get diplomas, of course. Mrs. showed everyone how to walk up the steps without tripping. She played music for us to march with. And guess what? Room 9 marched better than Room 8, except Polly Ellen Puffer kept bowing real silly, and Lenny kept on stepping on people's heels. Plus, Shy William ran out of the auditorium and down the hall, and Gus Filoni had to chase him around the parking lot. After that, Principal talked to William a real long time. Plus, also, his mother was called in, I believe. I am not like William, I told Lucille. I am not even nervous of walking up on that stage, hardly. Me neither, said Grace. I'm not nervous of walking up on that stage, hardly, either. Lucille fluffed her fluffy hair. My Nana says that I was born to be on the stage, she said. Nana says that people enjoy looking at me because I'm a feast for their eyes. After that, Lucille wrinkled up her nose cute, and she skipped all around in a circle. Grace and I watched her for a real long time. And finally, Lucille stopped skipping, and all of us hugged and hugged, because we are the bestest 3 friends I ever saw. Graduation week went by very fast. Friday night came in a jiffy. I felt so excited I couldn't even eat my dinner very good. I got down from my chair and I ran all over the house. Settle down, said Daddy. Settle down, said Mother. Settle down, I hollered. Then I laughed real loud because I'm a hoot. Finally, it was time to go. Mother got my graduation box off the top of the refrigerator. I jumped up and down. Let me carry that, Mother, please, please, please. I want to carry my box to room 9 myself because that's where all of us are getting dressed. Mother handed me the box. Then Daddy said settle down again, and all of us drove to school. Grandma and Grandpa met us in the parking lot. I hugged them hello. Then I zoomed to room 9 speedy fast. And guess what? All of the children from morning and afternoon kindergarten were getting ready together. I ran through the door. It's me, people. It's Junie B. Jones. I'm here for graduation. Lucille and Grace came rushing over. They were already wearing their caps and gowns, and they looked marvelous. Hurry up, Junie B., said Lucille. Hurry up and put on your cap and gown. Our teacher is going to take our picture. Yeah, said Grace. Hurry, hurry. She quick grabbed my box away from me, and she took out my cap and gown. Grace did a gasp. Oh no, Junie B. What happened? What happened to your cap and gown? in the front cover, that's kind of a colored version of it. My stomach felt squeezy and sickish because that outfit looked spottier than I remembered. Put that down, Grace, I said. Don't show people. I don't want anyone to notice. Lucille laughed very loud. But that's dumb, Junie B. How could people not notice your colored big purple splashes all over your graduation clothes? I did a huffy breath. Those are not big splashes, Lucille. Those are purple polka dotties that I drew to blend in my juice driblets, and that is a whole different ballgame, miss. Just then, some of the other children heard me yelling, and they turned to look. Great, Lucille. Now look what you did. You called attention to myself, and now how could I even blend in? After that, I quick grabbed my graduation gown, and I ran to the back of the room. Then I heard a voice. Junie B. Jones. I looked to the front of the room. It was my teacher. Mrs. stretched her long neck to look back at me. Is there a problem back there, Junie B? I shook my head. No, Mrs. No, there is not a problem, I promise, and so please do not come back here. Mrs. came back there, and what do you know? All of room 9 came back there with her. Mrs. took my cap and gown out of my hands. The children laughed and laughed at that thing. What kind of gown do you call that? Said Meanie Jim. I know, said Polly and Puffer. It's the kind of gown that a clown would wear. Yeah, shouted Jim. It's a purple spotted clown gown. After that, the laughing got louder and louder, and I put my hands over my ears to keep it out of my head. Then I tried to tell them about Raggedy Larry and the Driblets, but I couldn't even talk that good, and my nose started running, and finally I started to cry. And guess what? Then nobody laughed anymore. Chapter 9, the last chapter. The time of my life. Mrs. took me into the hall. She wiped my face with a tissue, and we talked about my graduation gown. Mrs. said I would look darling in that dotty thing, because purple is her favorite color, plus grape juice is her favorite kind of drink. I kept on crying, because I didn't actually buy it, that's why. Pretty soon, Mother and Daddy came hurrying to room 9. They brought Grandpa Miller with them. Their eyes popped out of my spotty dotty gown. I'm sorry, please don't yell at me, I said, because I'm already crying. See, plus I'm wearing this dumb clown gown, and that'll be punishment enough. Mother and Daddy didn't yell. They said we would talk about this problem later. After that, Mother helped me get on my cap and gown, and she hugged me very nice. Then Daddy grinned, and he said I look cute in dots. She does look cute, said Grandpa Miller. And not only that, but when she goes on stage, she'll be easy to spot. And he winked at me. I did a giggle because that man is a silly joker, that's why. Finally, Mrs. patted me. Are you feeling better now, Junie B? Are you ready to go back inside and be with your friends? I shrugged. Sure she is, of course she is, said my grandpa. My goodness, this is Junie B. Jones. After that, he stood me up straight and tall, and he faced me to my classroom, and then I breathed in a big breath, and me and Mrs. went back to room 9. Polly, Allen, and Jim jumped out at me. Surprise! They hollered. Surprise! Surprise! Hollered my bestest friend named Grace. I looked at those people very shocked. Then my mouth came all the way open. Because they had dots on their clothes just like me. That Grace skipped all around. It was Jim's idea, Junie B. Jim said that if all of us have spots too, then you will feel better. And so Polly, Ellen, Puffer found the colored markers, and we colored our caps and gowns just like yours. Grace looked at Mrs. See us, teacher? Aren't we beautiful? I colored red spots, and Jim colored blue spots, and Polly, Ellen, Puffer colored green spots. Just then William raised his hands. And I am coloring orange spots. And I'm coloring lavender spots, said Charlotte. And I'm coloring pink spots, said Lucille, because pink brings out the natural blush of my cheeks. Mrs. smiled. Her smile kept on getting bigger. Well, Junie B. Jones, she said finally, what do you think about all this, My face beamed very joyful. I think I love these people. That's what I think, I hollered. Then Jim said, gross. And Polly Ellen Puffer said, gross. And then all of room 9 laughed and laughed, and this time they laughed with me. Graduation finally got started. The room 8 teacher walked up the steps of the stage. She said hello to the people. Then Mrs. walked up the steps of the stage too, and she was smiling. Family and friends, I have been a teacher for a very long time, but in all my years of teaching, these are some of the most colorful graduates I've ever seen. Mrs. held out her arms. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present the graduates of room 8 and room 9. Just then the music started, and all of the children walked into the auditorium. The audience chuckled at us very happy. Room 9 chuckled back at them. After that, all of us sat in special chairs, and both of the teachers talked and talked, and then finally it happened. Mrs. started to call our names, and one by one we walked up on the stage and we got our diplomas. And good news, Polly and Puffer did not bow real silly, and Linny did not step on people's heels, and Shy William didn't run away. It was the time of our life, I tell you. I felt a bajillion feet tall up there. When Mrs. gave me my diploma, she shook my hand real nice. I'm going to miss you, Junie B. Jones, she said. You are truly one of a kind. Thank you, Mrs., I said. You are truly one of a kind, too. After that, my Grandpa Miller did a loud whistle, and Mother and Daddy clapped very proud. And here's the happiest news of all. When graduation was over, Room 9 did not even have to say goodbye to each other, because all of us are coming back to the same school for first grade. So we can play a recess, just like Mother said. And guess what else? I can't wait to see those guys again, because we will be friends forever and forever, and always, and I mean it. And that is the end. Thank you for reading with me, boys and girls, and do not feel sad that we have finished Junie B. Jones, because like I said earlier, the next book series we read is super fun. And if you feel like reading more Junie B. Jones, you can, because there's all the first grade books. All right? Thank you for reading with me. I'll see you next time. Bye.